The 15th term of Parliament opens at a pivotal moment in our history. In his opening address, the President reminded us that the world is entering an era of profound uncertainty, marked by shifting power balances, rapid technological disruptions, and new threats to stability. Unlike other countries, Singapore's survival is based neither on natural resources nor a hinterland, as we have neither. Rather, our greatest resource has always been and will always remain our people. Our forefathers laid the foundations to transform a largely unskilled workforce into one of the most competitive in the world. In the 1960s, less than 6 in 10 adults were literate. Today, our literacy rate is approximately 98%. As of 2024, almost 65% of our population above age 25 have completed post-secondary education, with approximately 36% of our population above the age of 25 holding a university degree, making us amongst countries that have high tertiary attainment. Our students are frequently ranked amongst the very best internationally in mathematics, science, and problem solving, and our universities are ranked among the best in the world. Mr. Speaker, I list these achievements not to boast or to be proud, but to make the point that these achievements are neither accidental nor due to a stroke of luck. They are the fruit of deliberate investment in our people. And as we celebrate 60 years of independence, let's remind ourselves that what we do in this term of government will lay the foundation for the next 40 years in the lead up to SG 100. Education must continue to be one of the most powerful instruments to unlock talent, nurture resilience, and inspire Singaporeans into our next chapter. Mr. Speaker, 2 values or concepts have always anchored me in life. They are relevance and value add. Simply put, you will be replaced and sidelined if you are irrelevant and do not add value in whatever you do. This is true not only for individuals, professionals, but also for nations. As President Tharman reminded us in his opening address, Singapore today stands at a pivotal moment of uncertainty and turbulence. For Singapore to survive and thrive, we must ask ourselves, are we relevant to the rest of the world? How can we, as a nation, add value to the broader conversations that are happening elsewhere? I've spent almost 25 years in the education industry, and at present I'm CEO at an international school. So I firmly believe that education too must always be seen through this dual lens of relevance and value adding. Everything we do for our students, our workers, our people, must equip them with the relevant skills so they can plug into the regional and global economy, and education must value add to their personal and professional growth journey so that they become better professionals, better individuals, better citizens of Singapore. We want to prepare Singaporeans not just for today, but for tomorrow. And in this regard, I will touch on 4 areas in my speech: EdTech and AI in education, enhancing neurodiverse education, holistic education incorporating emotional and mental wellness, and more pathways for students and adult learners. An area where relevance and value add intersect is educational technology, or EdTech. In 2020, MOE has committed to provide every secondary school student a personal learning device, or PLD, under the National Digital Literacy Program to nurture future-ready digital learners. But why stop here? If digital literacy is foundational for the future, then should we not extend this commitment to our primary school students as well? Now, I've spoken on this before in Parliament, and I believe that a common tablet-like device, preloaded with essential software and learning content that are centrally managed by MOE's EdTech division, can be rolled out across primary schools, or we can do it as a pilot program, for example. Now, this initiative is aligned with both our Smart Nation push as well as our National Digital Literacy Program. I would imagine that such a platform could provide every child, regardless of background, with a one-stop e-learning gateway. If done at scale, the cost per device would fall significantly, and standardization would ensure that every student, teacher, and even parent is working within a consistent, secure, and effective digital ecosystem. Singapore is not alone in pursuing such solutions. In 2024, South Korea announced a similar initiative to launch a multi-million or multi-billion-dollar program to distribute tablets and AI digital textbooks nationwide to students. Here, I hope that MOE could work closely with MBDI and even private sector partners to realize this vision. I said MOE, MBDI, so I'm looking at my Ang Mo Kio GRC sister there, MOS Jasmine, and we should have more conversations over coffee about this. Mr. Speaker, we cannot talk about EdTech without addressing the use of AI in education. AI is already here. It is evolving even as I'm speaking right now, and is shaping how our students learn and how our teachers teach. We cannot ignore the use of AI. Now, when done right, AI is a legitimate tool and a very effective tool to augment teaching and learning. So we need to figure out how to guide its use so our teachers can benefit from it in a responsible manner. We want AI to amplify learning, not diminish or detract from it. One of my biggest concerns in the use of AI in education is how we can ensure that it does not erode critical thinking and original thought. On the worst case scenario, having our students cross into plagiarism or ripping off someone else's work unknowingly because they do not know how to use AI responsibly. I believe our assessment models need to be redesigned to balance between responsible use of AI and genuine value add in learning. For instance, assessment can be designed to differentiate between AI-assisted work versus original thought. Students can use AI for research, data gathering, idea generation, with interpretation and analysis being in the student's own words. By redesigning our assessment methods, we can keep education relevant in the AI age by ensuring that our students reap genuine benefits and not just replicate what machines do. Now to equality and equity in neurodiverse education. When we first designed our education system, we started with ensuring that every child has equal access to opportunities, follows the same school rules, and has the same classroom experience. These principles have helped us create common teaching experiences and learning experiences for all students, regardless of their aptitude and disposition. But as we observe, as we understand our students, especially those who are neurodiverse, then fitting everyone in the same education mold is probably not the best approach. Equity recognizes that not all minds work in the same way, and that some students need differentiated approaches to fully engage and thrive. A child who functions differently may need to stand and pace at the back of the classroom to think clearly. Another may need to fidget or twirl an object to focus. Now, providing these allowances would not necessarily compromise the integrity of a classroom. On the contrary, these allowances might be the key to create a participative, inclusive learning environment where every child can immerse himself or herself fully in learning. Equality gives every student a place in the classroom. Equity gives every student the support they need to flourish within that classroom. I believe our goal is to design an education system that is built on the principles of inclusion, not exclusion, and integration, not segregation. So creating an inclusive classroom requires a mental shift in how we view what participative learning is and how teachers can conduct their lessons. We thus need to find a middle ground by combining equality and equity so that we create classrooms that are not only fair, but also nurturing, where every student, regardless of their learning profile, can develop their strengths, contribute meaningfully, and reach their full potential. I believe this is how our education system can be relevant to all learners and value add meaningfully to the learning outcomes of different learners. Mr. Speaker, in today's world, students face a myriad of pressures that are more complex and pervasive than ever before. Academic competition, performance anxiety, comparison culture on social media, personal challenges, etc. We must thus equip them with the emotional and mental resilience to thrive. And this is the third topic in my speech. A step forward in this area is to perhaps consider providing students who are in secondary schools and above with holistic support through mandatory counselling and mental wellness services. Why secondary school students and above? Well, because it's typically in the teenage years that many issues and challenges, both mental and emotional, present themselves, and this is where students and parents could use the most help and support. I have a 17-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter, and I'm sure anyone who has teenage children or has been through the experience of teenage children will probably sympathize with me here. So it's not enough to just increase the demand on the number of allied educators or make support available on demand. I would like to advocate for a scheme, it's pretty radical, but hear me out, advocate for a scheme where every student is required to engage with their counselor, psychologist, therapist, or other allied healthcare professional for a minimum number of hours each month, with additional sessions available for those who need more support. This is akin to how it's mandatory for students to go for regular school-based dental and medical healthcare screenings. After all, let's think about it for a minute. If we believe in physical health screenings to avert more serious medical problems downstream, then why not apply the same principle to mental and emotional health screenings to avert serious problems downstream? I believe there are multiple benefits to this proposal. Firstly, it normalizes help-seeking behavior and reduces the stigma around mental health. It allows students to work on challenges such as stress, anxiety, anger, or social conflicts before they escalate into bullying and/or emotional outbursts. And we just had a whole session on bullying earlier this week, so my proposal could very well pick up on the anger and the issues that potential students who might end up bullying others are struggling with ahead of time. Second, it integrates holistic pastoral care into the everyday educational experience in school, reinforcing the idea that emotional and mental wellness are as important as academic achievements. Thirdly, beyond the students themselves, such a system would create meaningful careers for counselors, therapists, psychologists, and other allied healthcare professionals, thus strengthening Singapore's ecosystem of support by facilitating access to these professionals within the community. This proposal is not as radical as it sounds, considering that some companies have in place employee support schemes for employees in high-pressure roles to undergo regular counseling. So why should this not be something we can consider extending to our young adults whose formative years are equally crucial? By embedding holistic wellness into education, we are preparing our students not only to succeed academically, but to develop the resilience, empathy, and self-awareness they will need to thrive in life. And my final topic is more pathways for students and adult learners, Mr. Speaker. MOE has made commendable progress in expanding post-primary and post-secondary pathways through initiatives such as the Direct School Admission, the DSA, and the Direct Polytechnic Admission, or DPA. These schemes have opened doors for students with diverse strengths, offering them alternate routes into the next stage of their education. The challenge now is to ensure that these pathways remain relevant and responsive to the needs of a changing world. While we look at designing better and more holistic education systems for our young, we must not forget about our adult learners and our workforce. In an economy that is becoming more dynamic and evolutionary, it is increasingly essential for us to create a T-shaped workforce that have deep expertise in functional areas, which is the vertical, yet broad enough in perspectives and skills, the horizontal, to collaborate across disciplines. The combination of depth and breadth will make our workforce adaptable, employable, and ready to thrive in a world that values both specialization and versatility. The key here, Mr. Speaker, is employability. This is why MOE must continue closely with the MOM, Skills Future Singapore, and even industry partners to ensure that our CET, or continuing employment training, are aligned with macro market needs. Only by doing so, we will ensure that our learners, whether they are students who are just leaving school or adults seeking mid-career transition, can remain relevant in their skills and also add value in the future economy. Mr. Speaker, it's often been said that Singapore's only natural resource is our people. Indeed, that has always been true. And today, it is truer than ever. For decades, our progress has been built on the capability, skills, the resilience of Singaporeans. This has enabled us to grow from a vulnerable young nation to a successful and respected one. But success brings about its own challenges. The higher we climb, the more difficult it is for us to keep innovating, evolving, and climbing to the next stage. Yet we must, because the world around us is shifting rapidly. We must ensure that our education continues to produce talent that are well sought after because the relevancy of their skills and how they value add to the work they do. Mr. Speaker, many years ago, I made a speech on the PSLE where I referred to it as the mother of all exams. I think Prime Minister was then the Education Minister, and he found my comment quite amusing. But I'm very heartened by what Prime Minister has said in his speech. yesterday that focused on aspects of education in Singapore, especially the need to reduce the stakes of single examination. So while I may not stick to my view that it's the mother of all exams, Prime Minister, I certainly hope that your comments will be heeded and we review how the PSLE, the stress that's brought about by the PSLE can perhaps be better managed or be better received by the various stakeholders. I also wholeheartedly agree with PM that increasingly in the world of today, what you can do is more important than what paper you have. The MOE is the chief architect, Mr. Speaker, that shapes our people and our workforce. In this upcoming term of government, as chairman of the Government Parliamentary Committee, or GPC, for Education, I look forward to working closely with our MOE leaders, our educators, our industry, our parents, and other stakeholders to ensure that we nurture not only resilient and skilled individuals, but also Singaporeans with the compassion, empathy, and imagination to take Singapore to the next level and beyond. Mr. Speaker, sir, I end my speech in firm support of the motion. Thank you.